All right, moving right along to the here and now, which is also rather grotesque. You know, sometimes, I mentioned this the other day, sometimes I wake up in the morning and, while my mind is clearing out whatever little shreds of dreams are still holding on in there until they're completely gone. And once the clearing out takes place, and I make the mistake of picking up my phone or iPad and checking news feeds, and I look at what I'm looking at, I look at what I'm looking at, and I think, holy fuck! It's endless, isn't it? The madness, the craziness, especially by Donald Christ. Look what the Christ in its current form is doing to the country. And he's Donald Christ because the Pentecostal and fundamental Christians have labeled him as such. He's their Messiah. I don't know why they don't read the book of Revelation and realize he's a fucking Antichrist, but that's none of my business, right? Well, another little demon who is running around inside of D.C., of course, is this crazy fucker RFK Jr. He seems like he wants to be a one-man purveyor of death and destruction. Oh, I am death. You know, you don't have to go to the Bhagavad Gita. You could just look at RFK Jr. He announced in a statement yesterday that 22 projects, including $500 million to develop vaccines using messenger RNA, the mRNA technology, will be halted. Now, mRNA technology, it's my understanding, carries with it the probability of being almost like a wonder drug. It carries, RNA carries, that's the M stands for messenger, but it carries, let me find it here, so I don't get this wrong, because this is way above my pay grade. Here's how it works. Traditionally, vaccines have required growing pieces of viruses in chicken eggs or giant vats of cells, and then purifying that material and turning it into vaccine. But the mRNA approach starts with a little snippet of genetic code that carries instructions for making proteins. Okay? Scientists pick the protein to target, and then they inject the blueprint of that protein, and the body makes just enough to trigger immune protection, which then produces its own so-called vaccine dose inside the cell of the disease. Isn't that fucking incredible? It is to me. So it is the mRNA technology that developed the COVID vaccine. And now this monstrous psychotic fucker named Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says, well, no more of that shit. So his decision to terminate these projects that were already beginning, $500 million worth of research. This is the latest in a string of decisions that this fucker has made that brings in, oh shit, you know how to say this. It puts his doubts about shots into full effect at the leading health department in this country, Health and Human Services. So this son of a bitch, RFK Jr., because he has some kind of a fuck in his brain, worms and shit that have eaten part of his brain, apparently. I mean, who are you going to believe, right? But he's decided, because his brain has been infiltrated by worms, that, okay, one of the things I'm going to do is stop all kinds of vaccine research. Why am I doing it? Well, fuck you. I'm doing it because I can. So I'm doing it. Oh, my God. He has also pulled back recommendations around the COVID-19 shots. And he also fired the panel, the scientists that made vaccine recommendations. And he's also refused to offer an endorsement of vaccinations as this measles outbreak continues to get worse. Why in the fuck is this psychotic son of a bitch in charge of public health? But then on the other hand, why is a drunk in charge of the Defense Department? Why is a fucking 34-time convicted felon in charge of the country? I mean, we can go on and on here. What in the fuck has happened? This is a country that has become the worst place on earth because we have been at times one of the best places on earth. I know about the subterfuge and the shit that's gone on under the covers by the CIA, yada, yada, yada. I understand that. But now the United States, because of the kind of fucked leadership in all areas of governance, the United States has become the singular existential threat to life on this planet. Are you aware of that? That occurred to me the other day. What? Because of our withholding of research money, our ending of USAID, our stopping of Radio Free Europe, Radio Free Asia, whatever, our destruction, I should say the toilet rat's destruction of public radio, of public health, everything down the fucking drain. This guy, if you want to follow anything that the Christians talk about, he is the Antichrist. Donald Christ, the Antichrist. Oh, calm down, Malloy. Jesus Christ. Well, I do get head up, as we say here in the South. There were several vaccine production companies. Moderna was one of them, studying a combination of COVID-19 and flu mRNA shot. And I mean, there was all sorts of research that was in the process until this insane fucking RFK Jr. decided to put the quietus on everything. Unbelievable. But it's in keeping with what the toilet rat, this rotten son of a bitch, Donald Trump, and the rotten people that he's put in positions of power. Look at this beast Homan, Tom Homan, head of ICE, head of the Gestapo. Look what he's doing to people. Look what Puffy Lips, this crazy goddamn bitch, Kristi Noem, look what she's doing with her little posing shit. Look what this insane bitch who heads the Justice Department now. Look what she's doing. Every single category of governance has been taken over, thanks to the toilet rat, by greater or lesser degrees of psychotic son of a bitches who are going to destroy everything.
Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.